Hey there everybody, today I wanted to talk about Warframe's brand new PvP mode. There's only one game mode that just came out in yesterday's update 16 called Capture the Cephalon. So Capture the Cephalon is, for all intents and purposes, capture the flag. Just like you know from any other video game with multiplayer capture the flag, it's exactly the same. So 4 versus 4, but of course this version has a little bit of a Warframe twist on it. So with Warframe's Capture the Flag mode, it's very loadout based, but there's not necessarily anything that's supremely overpowered or underpowered. It all does seem fairly well balanced so far, albeit a few caveats that we'll get to a little bit later. So you start off by picking your Warframe. Now, all the Warframes and weapons are pretty much balanced for PvP, so the mods that you can put on them, if you're familiar with Warframe's mod system, are very balanced, and most of them are restricted only to Conclave, so there's only a few that you're able to actually use. And when I say Conclave, I do mean like the PvP Capture the Flag. This is called Conclaves, basically. So everything is fairly well balanced. So you start off by picking your Warframe. Now, you don't have access to every Warframe in the game. Only, I believe, 6 of them right now are available. I think they are Volt, Mag, Excalibur, Rhino, Chroma, the brand new Warframe, and Loki, I believe, are the 6 that are allowed. And you aren't able to pick from any of these 6 whenever you want. You have to actually own these Warframes in the base version of Warframe in order to play as them in PvP. But if you have a Prime version of one of those Warframes, they are perfectly available to play, just like I am using Mag Prime right now. I do have the regular Mag, but I also have Mag Prime, so I chose to go with her instead. As for your weapons, you're allowed to choose a primary weapon, be it an assault rifle or a shotgun, mostly, or what's allowed. There's also the bow, Paris Prime, is allowed in the game, but those are pretty much it. There's very few weapons allowed right now. For pistols, you have pistols as your secondary, and then you can choose a melee weapon for your well, of course, for your melee slots. So that's your 3 slots. You have a primary, secondary, and melee. There's no mixing and matching and like having like 3 primaries or anything, or 3 melee weapons. You have to have one of each, or just go with one of those slots completely empty if you so choose. Personally, I actually have my secondary slot empty, not by choice, but because none of the secondary weapons that I use in the main game are allowed in the PvP because they have not yet been balanced and tested and all of this kind of stuff, so they're just not available for me yet, so I'm running without a secondary for now. But otherwise, movements and gameplay are pretty much just like you'd expect from the PvE version of the game. So your movement is pretty much the same. You still have your sliding, your jumping, your flipping, your wall jumping, so just hopping off a wall really, really quickly and doing that like glitch momentum jump thing that everyone does. That's still in multiplayer. Although they seem to be very aware of that, and they've kind of limited areas in which you're easily able to do it. They happen to have made walls just small enough in a lot of cases where it's not feasible to really do. So the primary means of getting around is going to be coptering, as you're seeing me do all throughout these clips where I swing my melee weapon in a big circle and I kind of get a big momentum boost. That's the momentum ability in this game. So you don't have momentum building like bunny hopping in Titanfall or other fast FPSs. You pretty much are forced to kind of spam your melee spin attack, unless you can get those little wall hops like I was talking about before. So that's kind of your main mobility tools in this game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You are still able to go really fast if you're running a flag. If you put all of your focus into going fast, enemy team is going to have a lot of difficulty keeping up with you while also shooting, because they're going to be flying through the air and trying to get that momentum and shoot when they're in the air. But if they shoot while they're in the air, then when they hit the ground, they have to do a ground roll to recover from shooting, and it pretty much forces them to slow down by a wide margin. So if people want to be chasing you while you're running a flag, it's very hard for them to do that. They have to shoot you with a longer range weapon most of the time, unless you're running something like an Excalibur or a Rhino with an ability like Slash Dash. So there's a big meta in how you can actually attack people and defend your base and do all this kind of crazy stuff. And it's really, really working out very, very, very well so far. It's a whole lot of fun. Melee is not terribly overpowered. It's not underpowered either. You have to be very smart with how you get in on enemies. I don't really think that going melee only in PvP is going to be the best option for you. Like, yes, you're going to get like plenty of kills by doing it, but you're going to be dying a lot too. You have to be very, very intelligent about how you're pushing, while using a melee weapon only. Now, I do have to note that blocking right now does feel very, very, very powerful against guns. Like, for example, if I'm within shotgun range against an enemy and they have a melee weapon out, they can block like my entire magazine worth of shotgun shells, and there's like nothing I can do about it. I'm pretty much forced to pull out my melee weapon and try to defeat them that way. And using a power against them, one of my Warframe abilities, is very difficult because of the long cast times. I guess with any of the Warframes, not just Mag, they have such a long casting time that they can visually react to me casting an ability and just run in and hack and slash me to death, and there's nothing you can do about it. So blocking does feel very, very powerful right now. I'm not going to say if it's overpowered or needs changed or anything. I've played Conclaves for a total of less than 1 hour so far, so, you know, it's way too early to even consider that as a possibility, but it does feel very powerful. So if you are going to go for melee only, I do suggest trying to stick to blocking as much as you possibly can when you have an enemy in your sights. So now people might wonder, well, what about the Warframe's abilities and stuff like that? Every Warframe, if you don't already know, has 4 separate abilities that they can use: a 1, 2, a 3, and a 4. Generally the 4 is like an ultimate super powered ability, and 1, 2, and 3 are other like utilities or just lesser damaging kinds of abilities. And they're all actually very balanced from what I've seen thus far. The stuff that's really, really stupid overpowered in the PvE mode, like for example Mag's pull ability, is actually a very, very tight, hard-to-hit skill shot. Well, I guess not hard to hit, but it requires at least a little bit of aim to actually hit within multiplayer now, unlike the single player, or not single player, the PvE, where it's it's basically like a nuke the room, like just a pull everything and kill everything kind of move. Mag's pull, her one in this Conclave, was actually very well balanced, and it's like that for every Warframe with every ability. They're all pretty much not stupidly OP, so very, very cool there. I do think that this game it could potentially have competitive potential if they were to ever go for something like a like private matches, you know. So just private lobbies would be absolutely excellent to have like a competitive scene for this game, and I think that with 4 vs 4 it could definitely happen. There could definitely be at least a couple of teams out there that would play seriously and would pug and would scrim and do stuff like that. You know, like your traditional positions like you would find in Titanfall multiplayer, I imagine would also exist within this. So you would definitely have your offensive players who are going to be aggressive, you know, use stuff like shotguns, SMGs, go real fast, getting close, or even melee weapons, and just get in close and try to pull Cephalons and get as far out of the base as they possibly can. You're definitely going to have mid players running with stuff like late trend primes, or maybe even Paris primes if they're like super godlike, and they could, you know, run those and play a mid, just map control mode, just going for major kills and helping the offense get flags out of the base. And then you totally have defense in the form of defensive Warframes who are going to run with, I don't even know what kind of weapons they would run you with. Maybe shotguns, maybe assault rifles, who knows? Depends on their own personal playstyle, I guess. But all the positions, like just the major, like stereotypical positions are there. They totally work. Warframe abilities just add a really, really cool kind of layer of just extra sauce to everything. It just changes the way you approach the game, and it makes you try and play a lot, you know, more intelligently. It's not just about, you know, who has the right weapon for the right job. It's also about your Warframe and how much energy you have. So map control comes down to energy control a lot of the time. So there's a lot of potential for there to be a lot of depth in this game and a lot of fun, and I hope that a lot of people will decide to get to play it more than just a couple of times, you know, and they will stick with it for, you know, for a few months at least. So I really do hope that DE decide to, you know, continue supporting this game mode. I hope that it gets the support that it needs. If this game mode looks interesting to you, or you'd like to play with me or against me with it, just go ahead and let me know. You know, you can download the game at Warframe's website. I think it's playwarframe.com. If you wanted to sign up for the game for the first time, it'll ask you for a referral. You can type my name in there exactly as it appears on my YouTube page here. And for every like 5 referrals, I think every 5, I get I will get a little bonus from the game, like an extra, like, you know, weapon slot or some in-game currency or something. So if you feel like, you know, giving the game a shot and helping me out, then you could definitely do that. Or otherwise, just, you know, either way, just download the game, play a little bit of PvP, support the game, support DE for trying something new and doing an absolutely wonderful job with it. So thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed some of the gameplay. Hope you want to give the game a shot, and we'll see you soon, Tenno. Take care.